Hello, everybody, and welcome to the mini skills challenge. It's fabulous that so many people have registered to come and watch this. Do tell me where you are registering from and what was the thing that made you interested in being here today, because I will try and adapt and adjust what I talk about in order to answer questions or to give you guidance if that's what you want. So if you look in the sidebar, you can write comments. And so drop a little comment in here. I'll just write hello in just so that you can see that I'm here and I'm getting it started. And if you would like to tell me the thing that you're really interested in, the thing that's maybe the challenge that you're facing at the moment, or you feel that you can't overcome, or is too hard or too challenging. And I will, as I said, do my best to answer all of the questions that come up in as submitted by you. If you want to stay silent, of course, that's your absolute right as well. Now, while people are asking questions and telling me what they want to learn, I'll just give a little context as to why I wanted to open up this to a broader audience. One of the things that I notice as a coach, but also as a master's rower myself, is that as we age, we are remarkably bad at one thing, and we're consistently bad at it, and we don't seem to get any better. And that one thing is acknowledging that our physique has changed. Now, it might be that your strength is not what it used to be. It might be that you're approaching menopause or gone through menopause or post-menopause, and that's made changes in your body. It may be more obvious that you've had a hip replacement and you know that medically you're not exactly the same person that you were, a few months before. The point I'm making is not so much that we don't know that these things are happening. It's more that we don't think about our rowing and our sculling and how that is going to affect us, and whether we should make changes to how we row. By that I mean our technique, maybe the frequency with which we row, the intensity with which we row, the gearing, the leverage that we have on our oars and in our boats, so that they better reflect what we're actually capable of. Now, it's not a sign of defeat to shorten your oars, to change the inboard so that they're a little more comfortable, so that you actually can rate higher than 26 because you've got shorter oars. You'll find that the leverage changes. So all of these things are part of why I wanted to run this session today, to show you some of the training courses that are available inside Faster Masters, and obviously in the hope that we can travel the journey together and help you get to where you want to be. Now, I'm just taking a look at some of the comments that people are writing. So these are great. Keep building my skills. That's great all-rounder. The catch before the legs drive. Jackie, you're on the money, because I have literally written an article today about that. It's in the individual training program for September. So it's very detailed. But yes, what we're going to talk about today is also going to show you some of the things you can do to address that. Keeping your blades off the water. Celine, what a great goal to have. It's definitely achievable, and it's definitely something that will take some courage from you. Hi, Bruce. Still building confidence in the single. So confidence in the single scull is something that we may be able to help you with. Hi, Marta. Nice to have you here. Sue, how to push with your feet to get power. Absolutely with you here. And this is a key thing, of course, for propelling the boat. Nice to see Betsy, Gareth, Christy, Betsy again. Keith wants to know all things related to keeping the speed up, slowing down less, and until the pickup of the next best insertional catch. So Keith, yes, recovery, what we're doing on the recovery, very much with you there. Jennifer wants to work on improving the finish and wondering how to make improvements based on data. Jennifer, I'm not going to be able to cover the NK in Power All Lock today, but message me and maybe we can have an offline chat about that. Lisa wants to improve the timing the catch and then the leg drive before the back opens, and to also gain confidence in a single. Pam, hello, nice to see you. And Marta wants you need to get a little lighter as you lost your balance and your catch got worse. Okay, so a couple of challenges there, but let's see what we can do to get the balance back for you. And Pam's looking at clean feathering with no splash. Brilliant. What a great diverse range of skills that everybody's come with. And this is why I love Masters Rowing. Everybody has got their own thing, and what you want to learn today is not the same as the next person, but by showing you the full cycle of the rowing stroke, and obviously, you know, from catch to finish and back again, we should hopefully cover most of the things that people have said that they want to take a look at. I will show you some of the beginnings of the learnings. However, one of the things that you know and I know is that practice, and these mini practices that I showcased in the newsletter, the idea of picking something to see if it is what you want to learn and giving yourself 14 days to try it, that is the thing that will help you begin to get familiar, begin to learn how to practice it, and then to work out whether after 14 days this really is a skill you want to continue to pursue and to improve. Now, before we start, often masters don't have regular coaches. And so I know that a lot of people who will be watching today may have an occasional coach, but you're here because you're trying to improve yourself. And so an element of self-coaching is going to be part of the journey that I want to induct you into today. So when it comes to starting off, the thing that you need to be able to do is to know what your rowing stroke looks like, and to be able then to compare it with another more, perhaps I use the word wisely, ideal stroke, to find out where you don't quite match up. So we're going to start by looking at a video of a young man who I used to coach rowing on a rowing machine. What I want you to look at is how he sequences his arms, his body, and his legs through the recovery. And then in the power phase, the legs, then the body, then the arms. Now, this won't be a surprise to you. He's trying to make every stroke the same. That's a good starting point. I will send you an email after this with a link to that video so you can watch it yourself. But the key here is, what do you want to do first? And I would encourage you to narrow your focus to one thing, while politely recognizing that, of course, the rowing stroke is circular, and therefore what you do before it and after it has an impact. So go and get a video of yourself and compare it to a video of good rowing or sculling. Now, the best way to get video is side on, like the one I just showed you, and slow it down. If you upload your video into YouTube or other popular video platforms, you can set it to run at half speed or 1/4 speed. And then you can see very clearly what are the sequences of movements that you're making with your body. And what your body does is a key to what your blades will do and what the boat will do. So I encourage you to start by looking at yourself, decide where you would like to begin this little journey that we're going on together, and use that to refine your choice of your one skill that you want to work on. Now, I'm going to introduce questions now, because as I go along, and I'm shortly going to be starting to show you in depth some of the things that we will teach you, please ask questions as they arise, and I will try and answer them at the same time so that we get context of the two things sitting side by side. Now, I started Faster Masters Rowing with Marlene Royal, and together we wrote the Sculling Intensive mini training camp. Now, we wrote this because we realized that summertime in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment is a very good time for people to be able to get on the water, to be able to train nearly every day of the week, assuming the weather is good, and therefore to be able to take an intensive period of time to work on something specific. So I want to show you here the Sculling Intensive course. When you have bought it, you end up here on this page, which is the start page. I call it a 7-day virtual clinic because the way we ran it initially was to do a kickoff and then introduce a lesson, which you then did the subsequent day. And then we had another video session that evening to run through how it went. This is the recording of one of those entire courses. You can do this in your own pace. You don't have to go every single day, and you don't have to show up at a pre-agreed time. These are the different days and what we cover on each of the days. Now, despite the fact that it starts with the release and then moves to the tap down to get the blades out of the water, and then the recovery, and then the stroke power, and then the catches. And now, with the exception of rigging, I think every single one of those has been mentioned today by people here as something that they want to work on. I still recommend you do them in this order because they build very progressively one from the next. And if you find it very easy to master the early lessons, well, that's great. You can then move forward to the later lessons with greater confidence. If you find the first days are somewhat more challenging, you might want to take some of your 10 days or 14 days, sorry, that I suggested that you use in order to do the same lesson a couple of times on the trot. Now we're going to take a little look inside the course. So this is the learning management system. Here are the main modules: a welcome, videos of good sculling, how the blade moves through the water, how to carry a single scull. So these are all the welcome lessons. And these are things that are useful to do, but aren't necessarily essential before you start. The release is the first of the main lessons. And the reason that I want to introduce this to you now is because there are things that I set up here that then repeat in the subsequent lessons. So the first lesson inside this module is the recording of the video of the debrief so that you know what you're supposed to be doing. Then we have a lesson about how to get set up at the finish. This is for sculling. The first drill is pause paddling to the finish. The second drill is a high elbows drill. The third drill is a left hand lead drill. And then we have a thing called a checklist. Now, this is really useful because you can print this and take it in the boat with you so that you are reminded about exactly how to do each of the drills that are in this one day's lessons. So let's just run through the release. The stationary setup position at the finish, and I can't emphasize enough how important this is. If you're not set up correctly, you will find it incredibly hard to get your release good and the rest of your sculling good as well. The single strokes pausing at the finish with the blades on the water. This is a really useful drill because what we do is we use this drill to check the previous lesson. Are we set up correctly? When you finish the stroke, you check your handle width, which is what we've got back here, the gap between your handles. You check your elbow position, which is explained in the video, why your elbows need to be horizontal and perpendicular to the oar shaft. And that will help you to ensure that when you get to the finish, your handles relative to your body and your elbows and wrists relative to the handles are in the right place. We then move on to one which is called the high elbows drill. This is helpful because it ensures that you keep the oars fully buried under the water before you start the release to take the blades out of the water. We introduce flat wrists as an important element of your positioning here. And then the next drill here is called the left hand lead exercise. And this is after you've taken the oars out of the water, and it helps you to get the sequencing right of the hands leading away from the finish. Your left arm goes straight, your right arm goes straight to meet in what I call a nested crossover. That position is explained in the video. Then your body swings forward. Then you take a normal recovery and a normal stroke, and then you do the left hand lead again. Now, this is a document that has that exact same thing on it. So you can print this and take it back into your boat with you so that you know what you're doing when you're on the water and you don't forget what the drills are. No, those weren't questions. Hello to Gareth. Hello to Randall. Nice to have you with us. Now I'm going to go back into show you a little bit more about some of the other lessons. And I mentioned that weight in the hand is a particularly important exercise to learn and understand. And this is one of the things that I call a key concept. So it appears here on the third day. There are three really big elements to learning how to handle the oars that this camp, this sculling intensive, will teach you. Without these, it's extremely hard to control your oars, to control the mass of your body, and therefore to control the boat. And so I want to go through in some detail exactly what weight in the hand is. Weight in the hand enables you to have control over the sculls, to facilitate high balance and manage the equipment while you move your body mass through the stroke cycle. Now, what is high balance? High balance is when you have got your oars off the water, your arms are straight, and the boat is running on without you doing anything. So there's nothing resisting the flow of the boat. And the boat is perfectly level as well. So in this lesson, I talk about why weight in the hand matters so much. It helps you learn how to control the oars. And when you can do that, you can start using lighter weight oars. You're probably aware that modern oars of carbon fiber come in slightly different weights. But you will also be unflustered by waves and ripples on the water's surface. And it will mean that you won't disrupt the flow and rhythm of your stroke when you get hit by wind. So this is a really big goal and really worthwhile working towards. So if you scull with your oars running close to the water surface, what happens when there are small waves? You know that your oar will riffle along the surface, and that slows your boat down. Weight in the hand will help you to elevate the tips of the oars, the spoon of the oar above the water surface, and to still feel safe that you're not going to tip in. And so your oars then will be high enough that they'll flow over the waves. Achieving weight in the hand is about downward pressure on the handle. And the reason this is so successful in helping to lift the oar handle is because your oar is a pole with a fulcrum at the oarlock. And the greater the mass of the outboard, which is from the button or the oarlock to the tip of the oar, means that the oar spoon stays on the water surface because it's about 2/3 of the total mass of each blade. So it's heavier. So it's going to stay on the surface unless you counteract that. So how do you get weight in the hand? You put downward pressure on the oar handle to lift the tip of the spoon above the water surface on the recovery. It also means you can control exactly how high your oar spoons go using variable downward pressure on the handle. This is really useful because when you come to square the blade before the next catch, ideally, your handle should stay at the same height and you should be able to square the blade without the oar tip touching the water. When you go back and watch video of yourself sculling, have a look at how high your handles are on the recovery. You may need to freeze frame the video along, but if your handles stay at one height all the way until the next catch, that is ideal. What many people will find is that they feather, so they tap down, then they lift the handles so the oars go down closer to the water surface. But then in order to have enough room to square, they push the handles down in order to square. So your handle has a bit of a corrugation on the recovery. That doesn't help the balance of the boat, and it indicates to me that you don't have the control of the blades and enough weight in the hand. So the challenge, what we're going to teach in this lesson, which is number 3, how to push down on both handles simultaneously, how to push down with identical pressure on the left and the right handle, and then how to maintain that downward pressure as you roll up the slide, which of course is my point about what to do when you're squaring. Now, the rest of the lessons are all about the drills that will teach this to you. The first one, and probably the most important one, is called the stationary stability drill, We have a video here that shows you exactly how to do it. And we also then have words that explain how to do it as well. And then an important section here, which is called what goes wrong. If there are things that you're doing that are not quite right, this gives you some clue as to what to look for if it's not quite working out for you. The next exercise is called the double bounce exercise. Again, a video and an explanation in words. And again, a what goes wrong section. And this explains in words what are the things that can go wrong. You pause with the oars already on the water. Your boat tips to one side. You don't press equally with both handles. Then a few things for you to check and repeat. And a challenge, can you do the drill with the oars off the water 3 times in a row? Our next drill is called the J curve drill. It's about teaching you to get the oars out of the water and to move from the release in the water through to the high balance position. We then introduce single strokes to hands away, which I'm sure most of you have done before, but it explains what to check when you're pausing. And again, a little bit of the what goes wrong. And finally, we have the tap down checklist, which is where you print out this document and take it on the water with you. Now, this is a very big day when it comes to the learning about this part of the rowing stroke. It really, really is a lot of drills, and the chances are you'll get quite tired when you try and do them all on a single practice. So you may need to split it up. Sometimes when you're learning a drill for the first time, it's only when you've done it like 3 times that you begin to feel that you have mastered what I'm trying to teach. And then, of course, you have to practice it in order to get better. So we all understand that there's a ladder of learning. And on our little ladder of learning, you might find that you take 2 steps forward and then you take 1 step back. But if you take a couple of steps forward and it's going well, move on and take a further step. And if it isn't going well, understand that because it's designed as a ladder, you can step back a level, reset, reacquire your confidence at a slightly easier, less challenging drill. Get that going again before you advance. And remember, it might be a subsequent day before you choose to advance again. So learning how to progress, measure your progress, and then challenge yourself a bit. But if it isn't working today, recognize that that is absolutely fine. And you've got tomorrow, and tomorrow you will come back and you'll be a little more rested and you'll be a little more practiced and learned because you know the drill better, and you'll be able to have a second go at it. Now, the other 2 important parts in this whole camp is you'll see here, there's a bonus here, which is drills to get blades off the water. So that's an extra thing which you may want to read. Then we have the second key concept is here in the recovery lesson. This key concept is called weight on the feet. What is weight on the feet? It's the moment in the stroke cycle where you've completed the release, as in your oars have come out of the water, and you've transitioned your body position through to being in the catch angle. So you're leaning forwards, your arms are extended, and your back is at the correct angle for taking the catch. The more relaxed you can be at weight on the feet, the better your catch timing will be. And I know there was at least one person who said they wanted to work at catches. Now, this is one of the quirks of the rowing stroke. To improve something at one point in the stroke cycle, you often have to work at the opposite end. And this is one of the things about weight on the feet. It enables you to control the speed of the slide. And that means, for the person who said they wanted to improve their recovery and to slow down the boat less, this is the lesson that you're going to love. It facilitates your recovery being in time with the speed of the boat. And you arrive at the catch then prepared and ready. But if you're in a crew boat, particularly, you arrive together. Everybody gets there at the same time. And that is regardless of height differences between the people in the crew. Moving up the slide in time with the hull is a key part of not slowing the boat down. And your total boat speed has two components. How fast you can propel the boat in the power phase, obviously, but how little you slow it down during the recovery phase also means that that affects your average speed. As I often say, as masters, we may not get much stronger, but we can certainly get more skillful. And this is one of the places where you can manage the recovery of your stroke and get a higher average boat speed without getting physically stronger. How to achieve this? Your challenge is to learn how to transition your body weight from leaning backwards to leaning forwards. So that's after the oars have come out of the water. And then how to take tension out of your legs and your hands. The structure of the rest of the module is very similar to the one we've already seen. We have got some drills that you will run through. The first one here is pause paddling to weight on the feet. Before that, you will see that I have a lesson here called static positions, which is really worth reading because that will help you reference your own video of your own rowing and to help you work out that you're getting to the correct positions. Again, back into our pause paddling as a video, there's an explanation. There's a what might go wrong so that you can self-coach if things aren't working for you. There's another drill called loose legs up the slide, which is about the reducing tension. We then have the double quick hands and double slow slide drill. And again, a video to help you achieve some of the feeling that we're trying to teach you about this weight in the feet. And lastly, a recovery checklist for you to print and take in the boat with you. A bonus here is called the drive discussion. You'll have to watch that and read that in order to see what that's all about. But all of these are learning by listening to other people talking around some of the things that are important to acquiring the skill for rowing and sculling. Now, in session 5 on stroke power, here's our third key concept. For the person who wanted to learn how to push and use their leg drive, this is part of your learning. We call this body weight suspended. What is it? After putting your sculls into the water, you can maximize the effectiveness of the drive by adding your body mass, your weight, to your effort. Because your feet are connected to the boat through your shoes on the foot stretcher, your hands are connected to the water by holding the scull shaft and spoons. Therefore, your body is the connection that joins these 2 points. You can be more powerful when your body weight is suspended off the oar handle and that mass is added to the effort of moving the boat. So here's a picture of a very skillful sculler. Her name is Tracy Langland. She was the lightweight single sculler for Great Britain. And here she is. She has put the oars in the water. And she's probably at between 3/4 and half slide, judging by her leg angle. You can see that she's got the oars under the water. There's the remnants of a little backsplash here from when she put the oar in the water, because she probably put it in about here. And there's a little mound of water here. You can just see the riffles here in front of the spoon, so that you know that she's pushing the spoon against the water. Now what they've done with some clever artistry is to remove the boat. And you can see how she has got her body weight suspended, and that if you had taken the seat away from underneath her, she would still be in exactly the same position. And this is one of the key things that these elite rowers and scullers can do that helps them to maximize the amount of power push that they can apply to the blade. So why does this matter? Adding your body weight to the power phase creates a lightness on the seat. It's as if you're barely touching it. And while you remain suspended with that lightness, it continues. But when you stop adding pressure on the foot stretcher, or your body weight comes down and you find yourself sitting more heavily on the seat top, the pressure on the blade spoons, which of course is the bit in the water, that pressure, the pressure on your feet and the pressure on your fingers, are identical when you maintain that power. If one of these pressures lowers or reduces, you have stopped suspending. Then we go through how to achieve this. So here's someone doing very much the same thing on an erg, where they've tied the handle onto the flywheel. So the handle doesn't move, that chain isn't moving. And this person has just lifted themselves off the seat by pushing on their feet. They're keeping their arms straight, so they aren't actually bracing their arms. They're pushing on their feet in order to lift, I don't know, maybe 5 centimeters off the seat here. And here's a coach teaching an athlete how to feel the same thing. Here, she's holding onto a fence post, but the idea is the same. She's in a suspended position. She's lifted up off the ground, and you can see the tension runs here down her arms, down through her body, which is in the catch position, up her legs and to her feet. Her feet are pushing. The moment she stops pushing on the feet, she will sit down on the floor. And so here's what you need to learn, and this lesson will endeavor to teach you how to have a strongly accelerated power phase and how to push on your feet and hang off the handles so that you feel lightness on the seat. And again, we have some drills here ready to teach you how to deliver that, a checklist for you to take out in the boat with you, and a bonus. Now, the rest of this course runs through catches, because I know there was someone here who wanted to do some work on their catches. Here again, we have some exercises, we have some drills, we have a discussion about when to square the blade. And then we have an additional couple of lessons. One is here on steering and rigging, which may not be something you'll particularly care about, but for some people that is going to be useful, particularly if you think you're one of those people that aren't as strong as you used to be. You might like Volker Nolte's oar measurement chart here. And also how to achieve work through the pin, which is another key concept. And then the final lesson is called Joining It All Together. And this explains how adults learn and how you can use that understanding, that comprehension, to self-coach. It includes a load of drills to join the different parts of the stroke together. It has some advice on mental skills to coach yourself. And here also how to video your rowing effectively, which is definitely going to be worthwhile actually right back at the beginning when I talked about you should video yourself. So you need to go to the last lesson to get that. We have a question. Hello, Elizabeth. Heels, try to keep them down at the finish or point the toes or somewhere in between. So this is a mixture of personal preference and your own skill. If you are a person who cannot balance the boat successfully, I always counsel keeping your feet flat at the finish, because you then have a bigger surface area of your foot to push down on the foot stretcher, and it gives you more certainty, security that you know you've got your feet pressing, and then at the finish, obviously your legs are straight. When you point your toes, only the ball of your foot is touching, and if you find that you can't take the oars out of the water, feather them at high balance, and get through to your arms straight without the boat tipping one way or another, keeping your feet flat on the foot stretcher is definitely one way to help you have better control over the handles, because you know your feet are flat. Now, I will say that some boat designs, the deck might cut into your calves and prevent you getting your legs fully straight or getting your heels fully down onto the foot stretcher. If that is the case, have a look at your rigging. You might be able to raise your feet up and then get your heels down and your legs straight. However, that can compromise your ability to get your shins vertical at the catch. If this is a challenge for you, take some video and message me. When you buy one of our courses, there is a thing in the, I'll just show you here, over here called support. If you click support, you can open a ticket and share with me any links to video or any, so it says click here to submit your ticket, any explanation or questions that you've got, and I will answer them. It's much better to use the support ticket system than to send me emails. As you probably guessed, my inbox gets somewhat full, whereas when it's in the support ticket system, I can see it immediately. I log in and give you a direct answer. The answer goes back to your email, but it also means that if we have a conversation and there are several backs and forwards messages, they're all together in one place, which personally I find helpful. So Elizabeth, I hope that's answered your question. Who had heard of those 3 core concepts before? Are any of them new to you? Does anyone think that this looks like something that's a deeper level of understanding than perhaps you had previously appreciated, what goes into moving a sculling boat? Have a little think about them. And remember what I said about the learning being progressive. Even if you think you want to work on one of the later lessons, I do encourage people to start with the earlier ones. Now, if you'd like to go and buy that course, there is a discount coupon that gives you a 30% discount. It is Skill 30. It does need to be capital letters. And there are 30 of these available. So you can go and take that right away. And if you want to get the discount, be quick on your feet. Before I finish this, I wanted to show you a couple of other different courses that might be more aligned to something that suits you. So the Sculling Intensive is a giant course. As you can tell, there's a lot of content in there. It's like going on a rowing camp. If you want something that is a little bit lighter, I have 2 to offer you. This one, the Square Blades Challenge, and this one, which is called A Focus on Boat Skills. I'll go through this one first. The Focus on Boat Skills is about one really expert coach who's called Troy Howell, explaining a lot of the finer skills that enable you to have comfort in the boat. Let me show you what he's talking about. So the setup is very, very similar. It's a webinar that he did. And in it, he talks through some key concepts which it's impossible to teach beginners. You have to have some skill and ability in a single scull, in a sculling boat. You can do this in a crew boat as well, in order to understand what Troy is talking about. He has some slides. There's an ebook in which he explains the same things if you want to download them and read them. And in it, he spends time explaining how the things that we tell beginners are not the same things as what we teach the more advanced people. For example, you were probably taught to never let go of your oar handle, but he takes a very contrarian position that he thinks it's quite damaging to tell beginners this. And he explains why this is not a good thing and why we should all be able to do this. This is Troy in a single saying, "Hi, Mum." So he's sitting at the catch and he's let go of his oar handle. And his slides go on explaining different things and concepts that possibly it's not a tippy boat. You are a tippy person, and how you can overcome these ingrained ideas that you were taught very early on, that maybe it's time to unlearn them. Bridget asks, would this course be as useful to gig rowers using sweep oars? So Bridget, in a gig, and I have rowed in actually a seine boat, yes, many of the concepts also work with sweep oars rather than sculling. So weight in the hand. But my understanding of gig rowers is your finish is here over your shoulder. So, for example, pushing down on the handle is nigh on impossible when you've got your oar over your shoulder. And so, for example, the finish in the flat water rowing boat is here in front of your hands. Having said that, absolutely, all the training about when to square your oars, how to place the catch, how to suspend your body weight, those are all totally applicable to any form of the rowing stroke. The finesse of some of the drills will be a little different because your boat is rigged a little differently. So the pivot point, the gate, is lower down for a fine boat, I believe, than a gig boat, where your oarlock is higher up. So a lot of the things, like when I say about having your elbow level with your wrist, that may not be applicable. But have a look at it, and if you buy it and it's not right for you, tell me within 14 days, I'll give you 100% refund. So my lack of knowledge about gig rowing is going to show in here, but this goes for anybody who's watching today. If you don't like what you buy, let me know within 14 days and I'll give you a refund. Yes, the price point is in US dollars. It is 275 US, but of course you've got the discount. What is the name of this course on your website? The name of the course is Sculling Intensive, and this is the URL. So if you go to the page, which if you go to our homepage, actually, let me show you. This is probably a little bit easier to do. I'll share my screen and here. So this is the page here, which is called Programs. Scroll down here. If you go to the button that says Coaching, it drops you down to all of our camps. This is where the Square Blades Challenge is. This is where a couple of the other, there are only 3 displayed on this page. So you click this red button that says See All Coaching and Camps, and it takes you through to the next page where you will find all of the other intensive coaching classes that we sell, including the as you can see here, there's the erg intensive, here's the sculling intensive. And if you're someone who needed to lose weight, you might want to look at the nutrition intensive as well. So here it is, it's called sculling intensive. Now, I also said I would show you the square blades challenge. Rowing square blades, I know, is a particularly challenging thing that a lot of people find difficult to do. Being able to row square blades is something that I know people aspire to. And so I put together a cut down course of the square blades challenge, just in case this is something that you yourself really want to do. So this is only 3 episodes, 3 separate little modules that teaches you the base skills. It includes some of the lessons that are in the full sculling intensive. One of them you'll have seen earlier, the setup at the finish, and some of the drills that help teach you part of the extraction of the ore from the water. Then there is a second, it's presumed you do this in 3 weeks. So week 1, you only practice this one thing. Week 2, we move on to transitioning from getting the blades out of the water to getting to hands away with your blades still square. And then week 3, it moves on to getting you up the slide and into the catch. It then has a bonus at the end where we've got an ebook which helps explain the connectivity between the drills and the normal rowing and sculling, and also talks here about the adult learning method, which was another lesson that you it's actually been taken from our coach certification course about how adults learn. And once you understand the mindset of learning, you'll find it much easier to get yourself set up and ready to self-coach. The price for that is, I think, $49. So it is somewhat cheaper, but it is really only focused on a part of the rowing stroke. But again, the coupon that I showed you earlier will apply also to the VIP day and to the Square Blades challenge. So if you decide that you don't want to go the whole hog, but you'd like a lighter introduction, that's an opportunity for you as well. So I'll just run through each of the 3 URLs. Square Blades challenge. So all of our domain, you've got the full domain, then it says member-register, and then sculling intensive is the first one. The second one here is Square Blades. The third one here is VIP day, focus on boat skills. That's been quite a lot. Are there any further questions? Do you think that this might be useful for you? Do you think I might have missed something? Celine, welcome. Look forward to seeing you on the course. Square blades in a double works great. Terrifying to try them in the single. Yeah, exactly. Now, one of the things that I often talk about for people who, find that this word terrifying is very genuine and not a joke, is to look at putting pontoon floats under your riggers. The thing about pontoon floats, you'll be familiar with them. If you see a para rower, any of the para rowing races that are arms only or arms and body athletes, they have these floats that sit underneath their riggers as obviously a safety device. But they're really, really useful for if you want to practice catch drills in a stable environment in a single. In a double, it's great. You just say to your partner, hey, you sit the boat and, I'll go off and do my practice. But in a single, you can't do that. So having these, and you can put them under the riggers, and they're height adjustable. So you can raise and lower them when you get into the boat. And so if you set them so they're touching the water, that obviously is the maximum stability. But if you raise them up, you know that they'll be there for you should you tilt just a little bit. And although they also make the boat a little bit heavier, that heaviness is also a cause of giving you more stability and helping you to build your confidence to try something. Jackie has advice. She can obviously do this. Square blades in the pair is amazing once you get over the fear. It is. And I totally emote with that because I love pair rowing and I love it when I can do square blades, but I also hate it when I feel vulnerable. So anyway, if you're interested in the pontoon floats, message me. I have a discount coupon for revolutionrowing.com, which I could share with you if you do decide you want to buy some for your club. So yeah, revolutionrowing.com sells them. They ship worldwide. Very nice, friendly people. They even built us a special mounting plate because the mounting plate that they sold was for, we have a very much older style boat which didn't have a rigger slot. If you don't understand that, don't worry. But anyway, they were lovely and helped us out. So final questions. Do get in touch if afterwards you think of something you wanted to ask. But if there are no more questions, I will close up for today. Thank you all for being here, for being with me. And I sincerely hope that we can all go on this journey together and move you on to the place to become the sculler that you want to be. Stay in touch. Until next time, bye-bye.